At night, when the fog slowly rolls across the harbor in Long Beach, California, the massive shape of the RMS Queen Mary sits quietly against the dock. From a distance, she looks peaceful, elegant even. Her towering smokestacks and long steel body remind visitors of a glamorous past filled with luxury and ocean voyages. But as the sun disappears and the decks grow silent, many believe something else awakens inside this historic ship. Over the decades, the Queen Mary has earned a reputation not just as a retired ocean liner, but as one of the most haunted locations in the world. When she first launched in 1936, the Queen Mary represented wealth, power, and modern engineering. She was one of the fastest passenger ships ever built, crossing the Atlantic between Europe and America in record time. Celebrities, dignitaries, and wealthy travelers walked through her grand dining halls. Crystal chandeliers sparkled, orchestras played music late into the evening. Passengers dressed in elegant gowns and tuxedos as they enjoyed fine dining and ballroom dances. The ship was a floating palace, a symbol of comfort and prestige, but history had other plans. When World War II began, the ship's glamorous identity disappeared almost overnight. She was painted gray and stripped of her decorations. Luxury cabins were replaced with tight sleeping quarters for soldiers. Because of her incredible speed, she could outrun submarines, earning her the nickname the Gray Ghost. During the war, she transported hundreds of thousands of troops across dangerous waters. The mood on board changed from celebration to tension. Fear followed every journey. While sailing at high speed, the Queen Mary accidentally collided with the British cruiser HMS Curacoa, which was escorting her. The impact was catastrophic. The smaller ship was cut in two and sank quickly into the freezing Atlantic Ocean. Over 300 sailors lost their lives. Due to wartime orders and fear of submarine attacks, the Queen Mary was forced to continue sailing without stopping to rescue survivors. Many believe this tragic moment left a permanent emotional scar on the ship. After the war ended, the Queen Mary returned to luxury travel, but the world had changed. Air travel slowly replaced ocean liners. By the late 1960s, the ship was permanently retired and docked in Long Beach. She became a hotel and tourist attraction. That is when the ghost stories truly began to spread. One of the most talked about locations on board is engine room number 13 in 1966. An 18-year-old crew member was tragically crushed by a heavy watertight door during a drill. The accident happened quickly and violently. Ever since that day, visitors and staff have reported seeing a young man in blue work clothes standing near the same doorway. Some say he appears for only a second before vanishing. Others report hearing metallic banging sounds echoing through the engine room when no one else is present. The area often feels colder than the rest of the ship, even during warm summer days. Then there is the first-class swimming pool. The pool has been empty for decades, yet many guests claim they hear splashing sounds and faint laughter. Several visitors have reported seeing the figure of a small girl in a white dress near the edge of the drained pool. According to stories shared by tour guides, the girl sometimes asks visitors if they have seen her mother. Moments later, she disappears into thin air. Staff members say the pool area often triggers sudden drops in temperature and unexplained shadows moving along the walls. Cabin B340 is another location with a disturbing reputation. Guests who stay there have described waking up in the middle of the night to the sound of someone knocking on the door, only to find no one outside. Faucets reportedly turn on by themselves. Bed covers have been pulled. Some visitors say they feel pressure on the mattress as if someone is sitting beside them. The reports became so intense that the cabin was closed to the public for years before reopening for those brave enough to spend the night. Over time, paranormal investigators brought advanced equipment on board. Infrared cameras have captured strange, shadow-like figures walking through hallways. Thermal imaging devices have detected cold spots shaped like human forms. Electronic voice recorders have picked up faint whispers during silent sessions. In some recordings, a childlike voice can supposedly be heard. In others, there are unexplained knocking patterns. While skeptics argue these could be natural sounds from the ship's aging metal structure, believers see them as proof of something far more mysterious. Many employees who have worked on the Queen Mary for years openly admit they have experienced strange events. Security guards report footsteps echoing behind them in empty corridors. Housekeeping staff say doors sometimes slam shut without warning. Some workers avoid certain sections of the ship after dark. Even visitors who do not believe in ghosts often say they feel uneasy while walking through the narrow hallways at night. Of course, not everyone is convinced. Critics argue that old ships naturally produce noises. Metal expands and contracts with temperature changes. Pipes rattle, wood creaks. They believe the power of suggestion plays a huge role. When visitors arrive expecting something paranormal, their minds may interpret ordinary sounds as something supernatural. The Queen Mary's long history of tragedy and death may simply fuel the imagination. But even skeptics admit there is something emotionally heavy about the ship. Perhaps it is the combination of war memories, accidental deaths, and the isolation of being surrounded by ocean for so many years. Ships absorb stories. They carry human experiences. The Queen Mary witnessed fear, celebration, tragedy, and survival. Maybe that emotional energy lingers in ways science does not fully understand. Today, the Queen Mary stands as both a historic landmark and a haunted legend. Thousands of tourists explore her decks every year. Some come to learn about maritime history. Others book ghost tours hoping to experience something unexplained. As night falls and the harbor grows quiet, the ship seems to transform. The wind whistles softly across the railings. Long corridors stretch into darkness. Every flicker of light feels intentional. Every shadow feels alive. Standing on the deck after midnight, looking out over the black water, it is easy to feel small. The ship feels enormous and timeless. You can almost imagine soldiers pacing nervously during wartime crossings. You can almost hear the distant echo of music from the ballroom. And somewhere deep below, in the steel heart of the engine room, some believe a young crew member still walks silently beside the heavy door that ended his life. Is the Queen Mary truly haunted? Or are the stories simply the result of history mixed with imagination? No one can say for certain. But one thing is clear, the Queen Mary is more than just an old ship. She is a floating time capsule filled with mystery, tragedy, and unanswered questions. And as long as she remains docked in Long Beach, the whispers of her past will continue to drift through her silent halls, long after the lights go out.